Part 4 is chemical reactions and analysis. We're going to look back and get back into chemical reactions. So here's an example of methane, tetrahedral methane, reacting with oxygen atoms to give me CO2 and water. Right? We're seeing the atoms again, the atoms and molecules doing chemical reactions. An example of an acid, acetic acid, reacting with sodium bicarbonate. All right, he donates a proton. The acid donates a proton. Bicarbonate accepts it to make water and carbon dioxide. All right, so chemical reactions are what we're interested in. And why are we interested in them? Well, one reason is they're kind of big business. All right, so here are the most prescribed drugs in 2015. A couple different ones here. Humira is a TNF inhibitor. It's an immunosuppressive used to treat Crohn's and rheumatoid arthritis. Crestor is a statin to treat cholesterol. Abilify, this is this molecule here, right, is an atypical antipsychotic, and they use it to treat schizophrenia. And these are a couple of steps where we're synthesizing Abilify, and we're seeing the things that we just talked about. So we have atoms being added or removed, right? They're being moved around. And so understanding these chemical reactions is really what we're interested in here. Here are the prescribed drugs in 2018. Abilify didn't make it, but Humira is on there for just about $14 billion worth sold in a year. Okay, so part of this is just going to be a review. So remember, we need to go down from the atomic level and get up to the macroscopic level where we can actually see things. And there's a couple definitions. Remember, the atomic mass is the mass of an atom in atomic mass units. And it's defined as one atom of carbon-12 weighs 12 atomic mass units, right? And then everything else on the periodic table is related to that, or is relative to that. Right. Again, we're going down from atoms and molecules, right? Remember, we could see atoms using atomic force microscopy, up to grams, right? Which we can use at the bench to synthesize Abilify to help treat the bipolar disease. Bipolar disorder, is it a disease? Disaster. All right, so molar mass is related to atomic mass units, right? The atomic mass in that it's the mass of a mole of anything. And practically that's what we're interested in, right? The atomic mass units give us the molar mass in grams, and 1 mole of anything contains Avogadro's number of those things, right? So 1 mole is the amount of substance that contains as many elementary entities as there are atoms in exactly 12 grams of carbon-12. So remember, the mole, right, is just a dozen, but a big, big dozen, right? It's 6 with 23 zeros after it. Right, we can calculate the molecular mass of molecules, right? It's the sum of the atomic masses. So how do we do this for water? Remember, we have 2 hydrogen atoms, and each of those weighs 1.008 grams from the periodic table, and 1 oxygen atom, so 1 times 16.00 grams is what we'll use. We'll round it to 2 decimal places. So this is going to be 2.016 grams, and this will be 16.00 grams. Add that up and we get 18.02 grams per mole. That's the molecular, right? Molecular mass. That'd be the mass of a molecule, and practically it's the molar mass, right? And that's what we're interested in. Formula mass is the sum of the atomic masses for a ionic compound. So if we had sodium chloride, what will the formula mass be? I have 1 sodium at 23.00 grams. I guess this is really AMU in this case, but like I said, practically we're interested in the molar mass. And chloride is going to be 35.45 grams, right, to give me 58.45 grams. All right, so to be completely correct, which I wasn't doing, if we're calculating molecular mass or formula mass, we're calculating AMU, atomic mass units, right? But practically, we're interested in the molar mass in grams, right? Which would be this again, back in grams per mole of that compound. All right, so we'll see how we can weigh these things and see these atoms and molecules coming together to do this chemistry in a process or an area of chemistry called stoichiometry, where we're counting atoms and molecules and predicting how much of a product we make.